students, we have made it to the mid-semester point in our spring 22 semester in early childhood education at KEC. Congratulations. We have about 11 weeks behind us. Now we're going to have spring break, and then we have about 9 weeks to close up the semester. I know several of you are seniors, and you're probably going to get senioritis, so please stick with us until the end of the semester. I want to take this chance to just kind of review what we've done, show you what we have left at the end of the semester, as well as share with you some tips for success in this class. So here we go. So let's take a look back at our spring semester, the topics that we've learned about so far. We started off early in the semester with exploring careers working with young children. We explored different things from childcare to elementary school to working in a hospital, so hopefully you learned some things from this topic. We also spent a week on learning through play. We learned that play is a natural way for kids to learn, and as teachers, we need to be good at setting up play situations so children can be learners. We spent a week learning about art. I hope you remember this. We did a lot of process-oriented art activities in our classroom and just had a lot of fun exploring art and really learning the importance of process-oriented art and how it supports the development of students. Knowing that children learn best through play, we spent a week focusing on early childhood classrooms, looking at the design and looking at interest centers within classrooms where children have play opportunities, because we know when children play, children learn. We spent a week learning about group time, learning different components of group time, such as reading stories aloud, doing group games, singing songs, doing movement activities, etc. We spent an important week on child guidance, learning what teachers can do to positively guide children's behavior in the classroom. We spent a week on books, reading aloud, and more. We spent some time reading books to each other, learning about what makes a good children's book, and learning some techniques for effectively reading aloud to our classes. We spent 1 week in independent learning where students completed 2 health and safety modules of online learning. We spent 1 week learning about dramatic play. During this week, we had 3 dramatic play centers that Maritza set up in our classroom, and we also took a visual tour of some other ones, including an ice cream shop, a flower shop, etc. This past week, we learned about family engagement. We learned the importance of families and how important it is for us as teachers to really engage entire families in the learning of their student. We also learned that families can be defined in many different ways. There are more traditional families, there are families that are led by grandparents or aunts or uncles. So the important thing is that there is a loving group of people surrounding a student to support their learning and development. So that is a glimpse at some of the things that we've learned this semester. Now I want to share some success tips as I have observed students use these tips during the classroom. So let's look at a few success tips. Tips for doing well in early childhood education. First tip is to pay attention on teaching days, the days when I stand up in front of our class and teach. Paying attention helps you learn early childhood education knowledge, show respect to me as your instructor, and it also helps you to answer all the questions that are posed when you get assignments based on that week's teaching. So it's important to pay attention on teaching days. Also important to participate actively in activity days. Doing so helps you learn through hands-on, minds-on activities that are offered. Activity days that we've had this past semester include building with blocks, doing art, etc. And we're going to have more of those activity days after our spring break. Another tip for success: when completing assignments, please read the directions very well so you know how to complete the assignment. It is also helpful to listen to the verbal directions that I provide. I want you to be able to do assignments. I'm not trying to give you anything real difficult, and I really try to explain it well, both in written directions and in verbal directions. Next tip for doing well is to know what is going on in our classroom by reading anything that I put on Google Classroom, as well as listening to my plans for the day, my plans for the week, etc. Another important one is to use class time well. I provide adequate time to get everything done in class and on time. This is something that I talked about at the very beginning of the semester, knowing that you are high school students, that you have other classes as well, and other classes that you're going to have homework in. So I was trying to make this a class where I would provide adequate time in class for you to get your work done. More tips. I encourage you to have fun during fun times and work during work times. I try to let you know which time is which. We have some days where we get to play games and have fun together, and other days when we really want to focus on working and getting our assignments completed. So have fun during fun times and work during work times. Similar to that, I would say, is socialize with your classmates when it's appropriate, but do not let socializing be a priority over work time. Sometimes I've noticed that we tend to get a little too social and a little less work focused, and that makes it difficult for students to get things done and turned in on time. I also encourage you to ask questions if you're not sure what to do. So students doing well in the class are those who are asking questions when they're just not sure what to do. An important one is to turn in your assignments on time and complete. I received some assignments that are on time but not complete, and so you get partial points for that. I received other assignments that are complete but not on time, so you get partial points for that. So it's important to turn in complete assignments and to do so by the deadline that I provide. I also encourage students to keep an eye on their grade, also looking for any assignments that may be missing. So you guys have the benefit of being able to go in at any time and see just how you're doing in the class. I encourage you to do that as a motivator for when you need to really buckle down and work hard. And I also ask you to look for any assignments that you know you turned in that aren't showing up because I may have misplaced them. So if you find that, please bring it to my attention. Another important tip for doing well in early childhood ed is to have a positive attitude about school, learning, and our class. A positive attitude goes a very long way, and if we approach each day with a positive attitude, we're there, we want to be there, we're ready to learn, then our learning is going to go a lot better, and we're going to do much better in our class. Another thing that I've noticed with some students who are doing well is that they try to see how knowing the content that we're talking about is going to serve them well in future career paths. So they are seeing this and saying that some of the things I'm learning here are really going to serve me well if I become a teacher when I grow up, or when I get older actually, or perhaps just to help me be a better parent. So we also have some internship students who are doing their internship Monday through Thursday and join us on Friday. And I have a few tips for those students as well. First one is to check on the learning topics and assignment on Google Classroom at the beginning of each week. My goal is always to have the week's plans posted on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, so you can go on any time after then and just see what you're going to be doing for that week for our class. I also encourage these students to identify what assignments they're responsible for and when these assignments are due. So some of the assignments that are more of an in-class focus, I do not require of our internship students, but many of the assignments are required of all of our students. So please make sure that you read to find out what you're responsible for and when those are due. Another thing that I've done is I sit just like I'm doing right now, and I record the message that I'm going to deliver to you, the teaching I'm going to deliver. I record it and then I put it in a video format on a YouTube channel. So I really encourage you to watch those videos because that's your best way of learning what we're trying to teach in this class. Also, please turn in your assignments using Google Classroom. Make sure your assignments are completed, on time, and showing appropriate effort. We want to make sure that you're working diligently for this class as you do for your other classes. I know you have some added responsibilities because you are learning through your internship, but the assignments in this class are important for you to do as well. So that summarizes the tips that I have for students for doing well in this class. Now I just want to share a few tools for you. Some you are mostly aware of, and some you may not be aware of. So let's look at some tools. The first available tool is Google Classroom. As you know, I've been using Google Classroom a lot. That's where I post ideas of what we're going to be doing in class. That's where I post assignments. That's where I post reminders. All kinds of stuff shows up in Google Classroom. So you as a student are responsible for looking at Google Classroom regularly so you know what is there. So that is probably the most important tool for you to do well in this class. YouTube videos, as I just talked about, I have created YouTube videos and I intend to keep doing so for all of the different topics that I teach on. So you're encouraged to check out the YouTube videos. You can usually find a link to these in the assignments that I post in Google Classroom. Another available tool to you if your grade is suffering a little bit are extra credit opportunities. I don't make these real difficult. They're pretty easy to do actually. And if you want to earn some extra credit to make up for something that you may not have done well on, I encourage you to do the extra credit opportunities and make sure you turn them in before they are due. Another important tool is I'm here for you. I want so much for every student who takes this class to learn all about early childhood education, to have a great experience, and just to do well in this class. So I'm here for you. If you're struggling with something, I am very happy to talk with you and help you in any way I can. Similarly, Maritza, our teacher's aide, is here for you as well. She is here to help me in the class that we're teaching, but she also had this class last year and the year before. So she has a lot of experience in this class, and she is here to help you. The last available tool is that KEC has a counselor. If you're having any personal issues or academic issues and you'd like to talk with a counselor about them, we do have counselors here. You also have counselors at your home school who can help you with any personal or academic issues that you're facing. All right, we're going to take a quick look at what is coming after spring break, and I've listed here several of the topics we're going to dive into. The very week after spring break, we're going to do all about manipulatives. If you're not sure what a manipulative is, you will learn all about it that week. We're going to have a week on meeting and exceeding safety and quality standards in early childhood. So not the most exciting topic, but I want for all of you to learn about what kind of standards there are for keeping kids safe and helping kids to learn a lot through their school experience. We're going to have a fun hands-on week all about science and math in early childhood, where we're going to be doing some experiments together, doing a bunch of stuff like that. We're going to have all about sensory play and learning. During this week, we're going to make some recipes together of some sensory substances that kids can play with and learn from. And we're also going to have several different tables set up in our classroom with sensory play materials just so we can learn how much kids can learn through sensory play. We're going to have 1 week focusing on ingredients of a successful early childhood teacher. As you know, I've got a bunch of experience working in early childhood, and I've really gleaned a lot of ingredients of people who are successful teachers. So I want to share that with you. So if you continue to pursue education, these may be of help to you. Now that it's getting warmer, we're going to have outdoor play and learning in early childhood education, hoping to take a field trip on campus to check out the Early Learning Center's playground, and hoping for this week to be one where we can do a lot of activities outside. So you will want to dress appropriately when we get to outdoor play and learning. The semester will conclude with It's a Wrap. And during It's a Wrap, we're going to kind of review what we've learned and really try to highlight some important concepts that I want every student to leave this class with. So It's a Wrap will be the conclusion of our semester. The next thing I have here is a survey, and I'm asking for everybody to click on this survey in Google Classroom, to go to the survey, to fill it out. None of the questions are very difficult, but it's going to help me as I continue to learn how to be a high school teacher, and it's going to help me as I plan for the rest of our semester. So I do encourage you to do that. It's an anonymous survey. It doesn't collect email addresses, it doesn't collect your name, doesn't do anything like that. So you're just able to share some good feedback with me to help me as I plan. All right, so that concludes the short presentation. I thank you for listening. Have a great spring break.